Take care of not only yourself, but those you have a duty to protect. Sounds innocuous, noble even, kind of like leading your squadron into battle. But it especially applies for browsing the internet. Since anyone can access the internet at any one point, the onus should be on yourself to keep yourself safe, and if you happen to care for anyone, make sure they're safe as well. The best part about being on the internet is anonymity. You are not obligated in any way to show any of your personal details, which, if you happen to be in fringe, niche, or publicly risque communities, is an honest-to-God lifesaver. But with great power comes great responsibility. Let's just say you bought a game for your 11-year-old kid from CEX, for example, Little Witch Liberator on the Nintendo Switch. It's rated PEGI 12, so nothing seems off about it. You just happen to enjoy the game because how can they complain about a bi-monthly new game? You then hand them the Amazon Fire tablet one day after school, because what parent doesn't do that these days? And you go about your own day separately. Oh dear! Looks like they looked up Little Witch Liberator content online and got unsavory results. Let's look at the failings here. Firstly, in the age of information, you bought a game on whim just by looking at the box art. A 12-rated game can mean various things, from games like Super Smash Bros. To games like the Caligula effect. You don't want your kid hearing someone say "c," right? Second, research what their social media presence is like. Some game companies are perfectly normal, but others may decide to be more haywire with how they market. Third, make sure to have protections in place on the Fire tablet you gave them. Set up parental controls or a kid mode, use a separate email to your main one, enable Google Safe Search, and as a nuclear option, block the installation of apps like Twitter and the obvious. You should be one caring for your kid, not the internet. I say this because over the last couple of years, there has been a push from both ends to enact harsher ways to keep said children out of adult spaces on the internet, but at one extreme cost: privacy. Now, secrecy is perhaps the biggest pain points for companies and governments. Advertising companies obviously want all your data to tell you more stuff, or to sell to other companies. AI companies want all your data to train their large language models, and governments want your data for surveillance and, in more extreme cases, cracking down on quote-unquote illicit activity. Now, the internet is not 100% floodgates open. Some websites may do a cursory "Are you 18?" check. The logic being that A, honesty is best policy, and B, in these sites specifically, people are far less willing to give up their personal information to those sites than to their internet banking app, for example. While dishonest folks may slip through the cracks, it would have to be up to the carer to discover that and dish out punishment. The fear of the indulgence of a few should not dictate the experience of the majority, especially for adult yet legal content. And this is why policies focused on allegedly protecting children on the internet are not just a slippery slope, they're a cliff edge that makes everyone splat their body right onto ground level should they leap. Yes, a problem in the current social media landscape is finding common ground. Communities that are into anime, particularly fringe online anime groups, can be hostile to those in LGBTQ+ communities. Those that are seeking help in social or romantic relationships may not see the overlap about which cocktails are best, but all will be hit the same way, including the communities that usually engage in. Plus, the term "not safe for work" is in and of itself quite vague. There can be instances of conversations that may not be suitable for the workspace, but still important for someone to learn, including on the internet. Too bad! That important tip is locked behind a legal ID. Your anonymous tip could eventually be blown. And as a bonus, if your government is feeling a bit less liberal, that opinion you express about could land you a police visit. Sorry! If only we had a recent example of why we shouldn't be willy-nilly giving our ID information to private companies. That's only one part of the insane shitstorm the internet is being ravaged with though. It may not be through direct government intervention, but through another way that can affect billions way quicker. At the start of the year, I covered how Angela and Ian were forced to remove 5 skins from in-game sale due to an alert raised by Google Play report. Well, that was weird. Well, instead of hounding Google Play, what about hounding 2 of the largest payment processors in the world to shut down what you want much quicker? In essence, groups like Collective Shout aren't rare or new. They hijack movements like women's suffrage in order to suppress content about LGBTQ people, and risque R18 anime games get targeted first as a smokescreen to gain popularity among regular people. Obviously, when they pull sensationalist stunts with series like GTA, which has been under fire for over 25 years by now, most people know that their case is utter bollocks. Though now, with Steam and itch.io willing to comply, there's no guarantee that they'll stop right there. Reminder that groups like Collective Shout and the heads of main payment processors are mostly split into 2 types: old school social conservatives that are opposed to any type of suggestive content, and radical feminists. A very fringe splinter of the feminist movement that are super opposed to LGBTQ representation, TERFs particularly going hard on trans people, and will pander to unknowing outsiders to lure them into their more extreme causes, kind of like a cult. Hell, these groups are going after Twitter now, which... I imagine a lot of you use Twitter to follow, like, and bookmark various Japanese artists. I do as well, we do not judge. Well, they're going after porn on Twitter too, of course. As well as going after the new Grok for the dumbest thing imaginable, which now means I have to explain what the hell Grok became. Fun. So Elon Musk recently rolled out a new Feature 2X Premium Plus members, god it already sounds like an 18 plus site, called Super Grok with Grok 4, which allows members that pay up to 45 quid a month to have a conversation with this new chatbot, Annie. Now, in my opinion, if you pay this much to have a conversation with an AI with of recent Amane, there are probably bigger problems going on, but anyway, they're going after Grok because of her ability to, watch this, describe itself as a child with minimal testing. I've got to thank Madam Savvy for collating all this information, as they also found anchors giving a frankly awful example of a quote they got out of Annie. Little thing, barely reaching the kitchen counter. These are quite tame for suggestive dialogue, and likely wouldn't look out of place in a poo-poo Tetris dialogue compilation, so in order for it to be framed as problematic, they had to label Annie as childlike for him to get any traction. And I'm frankly done about talking Grok, so let's move on. What can you do as a knowledgeable internet user to stop this? First, you can use a VPN and make yourself appear in a country without harsh ID requirements. It's what I've done when I need to chat in Discord. For Twitter, you will also need to go and change the country you're located in from within your account settings. I selected Japan and it worked just fine for now. For UK viewers, try and drive to a local MP about your dissatisfaction about the Online Safety Act. I'll get back to you when I do that action myself. Also, keep in mind that pressure groups can work both ways, because the only thing that matters anymore is being as loud as possible. The uncomfortable truth is obviously uncomfortable, but this is now our reality. God damn it, I'm going to bed. Goodbye.